Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We'll give people, a few more minutes to log on. I'll let them in as they join. And actually, things might look a little bit different tonight. Kim Temple is not with us.
Oh, there we go. Hi, now we can hear you.
Oh, hi, Jenny and Joe. How are you guys?
Hi.
Oh, Lacey,
Hi.
hello.
Hi.
Hello, Carlsons. Where is everyone? Hi, Adam.
Hi.
The Dressleys.
The
Betsy.
what?
The Dressleys. Michelle.
Yeah, we're in New Hampshire.
There's
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, so did Kim make it to Costa Rica?
Not yet.
That's
At the
not
end
yet.
of
Yes. Pretty soon here. Oh, hi, Marty.
Okay, now we go.
Hi there.
Hello.
All right, perfect. So I'll just continue to let people in as they join. Why don't we go ahead and get started, because this is going to be a bit of a hefty Zoom session. There's usually a lot of questions when it comes to immigration. But let's first start out with introductions. I am Laura Perez. I am a real estate agent with Runaway Realty. I'm joined tonight by Danny Trava,
Hi, guys.
my colleague and friend. And Kim is not with us tonight. She's a little under the weather, so she, let go of the reins, and we're going to take control of this one. A little scary. Be nice to us, please. But tonight we're joined by someone really special, by Mauricio Mendoza. He is an immigration lawyer out of Cancun, and he's been working in immigration for 25 years. Is that correct, Mauricio? Okay, so he's a vault of knowledge. He's going to be able to answer all of your questions. He's going to get started by giving us a little bit of a rundown on what the process looks like here in Mexico. So when we start working with buyers, as many of you have probably already heard this spiel, you do not need a residency here in Mexico in order to buy. However, there are a lot of benefits of getting your residency after the purchasing process. One second, we have another one here. Okay. One of that being, once you have your residency, you can stay in the country for more than 6 months at a time. If you do not have a residency card, you're just let in on a tourist visa, and typically your tourist visa is for 6 months. So if you have your residency, you can stay for years, 2 years, whatever it might be. And then another really important, oh, here's Bianca. Okay. Another really important thing to mention is when it comes time for you guys to sell, you're really going to want to have your residency, either temporary or permanent, because with that, you're able to qualify for a partial exemption on your capital gains tax. And sometimes we see that buyers will literally save thousands and thousands of dollars by getting their residency. So it's a pretty hefty partial exemption that you can qualify for. And it's a matter of having either temporary or permanent residency, an RFC, which is your Mexican tax ID. So basically, here in Mexico, we have SAT, which is like the IRS back in the States. Once you have your RFC, your residency, and you have proof of that RFC on a bill, electric bill or a water bill, you are able to qualify for this partial tax exemption. So it's very, very, very beneficial when it comes time to sell. So with that information, I'm going to turn it over to Mauricio. He's going to explain the process. I ask that everyone saves their questions until the end. If you have a burning question and you want to get it out, go ahead and drop it, or you don't want to forget, go ahead and drop it in the comments. And if there's a natural pause, we'll go through some questions, or we'll just go through and read through all of the questions at the very end of Mauricio's talk here. So go ahead, Mauricio, take it over.
Hi, everyone. Everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Laura and to Danny for inviting me, and to Runaway Realty for the opportunity to get in touch with you and hopefully shed some light for you in the process of obtaining a Mexican residency. Either it's a temporary residency or a permanent residency, and depending on which part are of the procedure. But a little bit about me, as Laura well said, I'm an immigration lawyer based in Cancun, Mexico. I serve all the Ribera Maya area and Merida and all the Yucatan Peninsula. And I've been a lawyer for 25 years. I worked for 6 years at the immigration office here in Cancun from 2000 to 2006. And after I moved from there, I started providing assistance for immigration procedures for people for all every nationality who wants to come to live in Mexico. So the current law, which is 2012 law, the immigration law in Mexico, states a series of immigration status. There are many more status than just like tourist and temporary residency or permanent residency, which are more for other purposes like religious ministry or students or people who are from that live in the border, the northern border or the southern border, that they can have some kind of visitors permit for people who cross the border by land and live there. But for temporary resident, the temporary residency for people, it's for people who wants to live here in Mexico, that wants to spend more than 6 months when they are here, and up to 4 years before they can become a permanent resident. There are many ways that you can obtain a temporary residency. The temporary residency can be obtained by solvency, by economic solvency, which is in my experience, the most common way that people seek a temporary residency. The process is that you have to prove that you have the financial income or resources that you meet the minimum income requirements contained in law and applied by the consulates to be eligible. Sorry, to be eligible to get a temporary residency. How much of this you need to prove, it will depend on the consulate you attend. Most consulates, the formula to get so you can get the minimum amount that you need to prove to be eligible to temporary residency. It's either the law gives you two options to submit your financial information. One option is that if you have investments or savings, then you can apply. If you prove a certain amount, which in US dollar, it's like 73,000 US dollars in the past year of investments or savings in account per person. If you are applying for for family, if each of the family members don't meet this minimum income, you can apply as family members, one that has this amount of income, and the other one for each member of your family. You have to prove around 1,500 US dollars per month per family member. And the other option for temporary residency based in solvency is that if you have income by salaries or a pension, then if this salary of this pension is around 4,400 US dollars per month, and you have been receiving this amount for the past 6 months, then you are eligible for temporary residency based on this. When it's for salary, it's important to note that most consulates will require you some proof that you are able to perform this this job remotely here in Mexico, and that you will be continuing to receive this your salary. So, in other cases, depending on the consulate, some consulates will just require that you present pay stubs or your bank information, or a letter from your employer. There's also the case that if you are business owners in your country, you might be required that you present all the documents to prove that you are owner of this business, and that from that business you are getting paid. A common error I see in this kind of procedure is that they bring everything to prove that they are own a business, but they don't bring the documents to prove that the business pays to them. So that's what the consulates in most cases want to see. A third option to obtain temporary residency, if you already own a property, a real estate property here in Mexico. This will depend on, to be eligible for this option, it will depend on the value of the property. The current value that it's asked by the consulates to apply just by owning this, it's around 11 million pesos, which is roughly almost 600,000 US dollars, or 800,000 Canadian dollars. So you give an idea. If you have already a title deed with a property with this amount, then you don't have to bring the financial information. What if the property you own doesn't reach this amount of value, they don't take it for residency, but it does help that once you obtain an appointment, so the consulate review your documents and gives you or denies your visa, it's good to, along with your financial information, bring a copy of the documents of the title deed, if you just give like a down payment and sign a promissory purchase contract, you can bring this to prove that you are investing in Mexico. I always advise my clients that for this kind of procedures, sometimes more is better. Everything that it's important that you bring the documents as the consulate requires. Each consulate requires certain, that you present the information in certain forms. So it's always important to check the consulate where you want to get an appointment and see how they wanted to do it, because each consulate will require anything different, or additional requirements, or less. It's important to check at any case where are you want to go and have your appointment, to see how they require the information. If you want, before we pass to some questions, I can explain you very roughly about the permanent residency, which is the other common case that you can obtain residency. Permanent residency, as the name implies, it's a document that you obtain and that it doesn't require to be renewed as the temporary residency permit. The temporary residency permit, you have to renew it for years. Usually, the first time you get the visa and you come to Mexico to exchange your visa for your residency card, they will give you only 1 year. The following year, when you renew it, you can request that they renew it for 3 years. Usually they do, but it's up to the immigration office to authorize it or not, but usually they do. If you get your 3-year renewal card, then you forget to about any immigration procedure until it's the time to change for permanent residency, that you can do it once you have the temporary residency card for 4 years. But you can also obtain the permanent residency directly without going through the 4 years of temporary residency if in most consulates, this has been a change that has happened in the 2 years previous. It's that they have limited the age when you are eligible to become a permanent resident directly, because they now are requesting that you are in age to be retired, usually between 56 years old or 60 years old. So in most cases, consulates are placing this limit. So if you don't have this age, even if you have the financial income to obtain directly permanent residency, they will not give it to you. So, but for the solvency for permanent residency directly at the consulate is that if you have like savings or investments, you have to prove that you have the equivalent of like 300,000 US dollars in the past month. This doesn't mean that you have to receive this amount every month during the past 12 months. It means that you have to keep this average amount in your accounts and your investments in the previous year of your visa application. And if you apply by a pension or a social security payments, then you have to prove that only for this item you receive an amount of 7,300 US dollars per month during the past 6 months at least. I always, even if the law says that it's 6 months, I always recommend that you always bring a year of bank statements or pay stubs or social security or pension receipts. So basically, that's what they request for permanent residency. The permanent residency gives you automatically a permit to work. I mean, even if you don't use it, it's good to know that as a permanent resident, you have permission to work, which you don't have if you apply by solvency, which if as a temporary resident, if you want to work, you will have to ask for a special work permit and obtain it before you start working in Mexico. Otherwise, you will receive also with your residency a CORP number. This CORP number is what you will need to open bank accounts, obtaining a driver's license, obtaining an RFC number, and other kind of procedures you will require in Mexico. So I don't know if anyone has questions.
I do, Miguel, Mauricio. You said
Hi.
7,000 Social Security a month?
Yeah, that's for permanent residency.
You have to
For
get that much Social Security per month.
Yeah, for temporary residency, it's around 4,400 US dollars for temporary. And you have to prove that you have been receiving that amount for the past 6 months.
Okay, you said 7,000. Is it 7,000 or
Oh.
4,000?
7,000 is for permanent residency.
Okay, got it.
4,000, yeah.
Exactly.
4,000
Along
is
with
for
Social
temporary.
Security. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go directly to permanent residency and
I
skip the
see.
temporary, yes, it's a little bit higher or quite a bit higher.
It's a lot higher.
Yeah.
But if one works and collects Social Security, that's
Mhm.
different. But that's not
Mhm.
the same. That won't, yeah. And one more, and then I won't hog up the questions, but can we have both US and Mexican residency? Or do you have to?
Yes, there is no restriction about if you are resident of a third country other than your country of origin. There is no restriction in the Mexican law about that.
Can I
Okay,
just
and then-
mention one
Oh,
thing?
sure.
So a lot of people confuse residency with citizenship. And they're
Right, okay,
two,
that's true.
yes,
Yeah.
they're two completely different things. So when you apply for your temporary residency, it's essentially a visa. You're not getting a Mexican passport.
Got
You're
it.
not a citizen of Mexico. You cannot vote in Mexico. So it's a whole different thing to get your citizenship.
And
Correct.
for citizenship or residency, because my sister lives in Austria, she had to do a language proficiency. Is that not in Mexico?
For
Had to do a
residency,
written.
sorry, for residency, it's not required.
Okay.
For Mexican citizenship, once you have lived as a resident, either temporary or permanent resident, for 5 years, if there are some cases that this waiting period reduces to 2 years, but in most cases it's 5 years of continuous residency in Mexico, then you are eligible to become a Mexican citizen.
Okay,
And then you have to submit a culture and history test, and also
right.
a Spanish test. If you
Okay.
are over 60, you are exempt for the culture and history test, but not for the Spanish test.
Okay, okay.
And honestly, just one thing to mention, correct me if I'm wrong, Mauricio, as a foreigner, especially if you're just living here part-time or even full-time, there's really no need for you to get your citizenship unless it's maybe a dream of yours or, you know, especially if you're purchasing as a foreigner. Some people think, well, once I get my citizenship, I can just get rid of my fideicomiso. You can, but it's you have to completely retitle your property. So it's your closing costs all over. So in reality, it's very rare that we actually see foreigners getting their Mexican citizenship.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. There are some questions
yeah.
in
Or let's go
the
to,
chat.
oh yeah, or Mindy, since your mic's off, and then we'll go to the chat.
Okay,
Right.
perfect.
So is there a benefit? What's the pros and cons of having temporary residency versus permanent residency is my first question. And two is, then I have a question on getting permanent residence.
Okay, well, there is really no difference or other there are the beneficiaries of having a temporary residency, which I'm thinking about. There are not many, but for example, if you have a car with foreign plates that you want to bring your car from the States or Canada and have it here, you can have it as a temporary resident, and you can have it as long as you are a temporary resident. Once you become a permanent resident, you cannot have a temporary imported car in Mexico. You will have to return it or sell it or get in Mexican plates, which is a procedure that it's costly and it has to do in the border. So that's one. So if you don't have this, it's better always to have a permanent residency because you don't have to be worrying about renewing your document 1 year after you obtain it for the first time, and 3 years after you renew it the second time if you obtain a 3-year renewal. But as a permanent resident, you forget about that. So if you can go directly for permanent residency, I will recommend it other than being as temporary. Yeah.
So my follow on to that is on permanent residency, you had said that you have to show, in addition to solvency of savings or investments, there is a $7,300 per month income stream for at least 6 months. can that be salary or does that have to be pension, like Social Security and pension?
For permanent residency, it's not permitted to apply with a salary, only for temporary residency.
Okay. One last question, then I'll shut
Yeah.
up.
Then we're
With-
cutting you
Oh, it's
off,
okay.
Mindy. Just
With
kidding.
either residency, which line do you go through with passport control at the airport?
Oh,
Okay.
this is a controversial topic. Okay.
Yeah, it will depend on which day you arrive, where you arrive, and if the immigration hall is full or not. If it's full, even if you are resident, a few months until a few months ago, they let you go through the Mexican line. But currently, I'm hearing more than people who are residents are redirected to the foreign residency booths, the foreign visitors. So there's no change. In other, like in Mexico City, I think they do let you use the Mexican counters. Here in Cancun, if there are not many people or many people in line for Mexican citizens, you can use it. It's always good to ask for, before you get in line or something, ask if you can go to, show that you're a resident and ask if you can use that, the Mexican, because there are no specific for residents, which it should, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
I was
Thank you,
gonna-
Mauricio. Guys, before we get too deep into questions, Mauricio, can you just explain a little bit more on the process and what it actually looks like? So basically, and then we'll come back to questions, but basically you start at your consulate in your home country, correct? And then what happens? Do you do everything in your home country or do you come back to Mexico? When do you go to immigration in Cancun? Can you explain a little bit about a little bit about that?
Of course.
Thank
Yes.
you.
The procedure from with the law of 2012. Before this, you could enter as a tourist and make the change here, but they eliminated that from the law in 2012. And the procedure now starts with an appointment at the consulate. You need to contact any Mexican. You need to contact any Mexican consulate near the best one. It's the one nearer from your home address. In the States, there are more than 50 Mexican consulates, so sure you can find one that is nearer from you. In Canada, there are 6 consulates where you can do the procedure. And the first step is that you contact the consulate, a lawyer or a facilitator in this stage of the process can help you to locate the consulate, provide you the information about how to contact them, because as well, every consulate has a different way that you can contact them to obtain an appointment. Some have an email address. Some others you can make the appointments through a website that you can register. Others use a calendar or WhatsApp number that you can write. It will be depending on which consulate are you attending to. It is required that all communications with the consulate at this stage be directly from you, directly from your phone numbers, directly from your email addresses, because if not, the consulate will not give you the appointment. So you send the request to the appointment. Some consulates will request that you send beforehand your information so they can review that you are eligible, and only then will give you the appointment. Others just will give you the appointment. And some consulates are very, very hard to contact. So it's at this stage, it's important that you have a lot of patience that you decide which consulate is the best for you, because it's near from you, because the information they request, it's the best way that you can present it, and that's the way that you can decide. Some consulates will only take appointments from residents of the area, like Los Angeles or Orlando or Denver, and other consulates will take your appointment, even if you live in the opposite side of the country, like Las Vegas or Phoenix, Arizona, or Boise, Idaho. Those all consulates will receive you no matter where you live. So once you receive your confirmation of your appointment, you have to be in person the date of your appointment with the documents they will require, which basically it's your passport, your financial information, a photo, and you will have to pay for the visa, which is 54 US dollars. And usually you will get a response on the same day. If they authorize your visa, they will stamp it in your passports. And once you receive your visa, you will have 6 months to use that visa for a single entry to enter to Mexico. And once in Mexico, you will have 30 days to complete the process at any immigration office where you are living in Mexico, and obtain your card and your curb. Um, for the appointments here in Mexico, you starting on September last year, they created a website where you can book your appointment for the process here in Mexico. These appointments usually are 3 weeks in advance. So currently, the closest appointments available are for July 16th. So before you are coming, if you hire a facilitator, a lawyer, or you are doing it by yourself, you can book your appointment 3 weeks before. So, because I know, or as a lawyer, a lot of the times, I see that my clients are short in time and can do the procedure they just have available a few days in the month to complete this process, so they cannot enter and stay 3 weeks to wait for the appointment at the immigration office. So it's better to plan with time, so you can do the process as fast as you could. Once here in Cancun or in Mexico, you have to attend to the immigration office where you obtain your appointment. You will have to fill some forms, provide some letters, and give proof of your address here in Mexico, and pay for the government fee for the card, which will be depending on how much. It will be depending on the permit or the visa you got. If it's a permanent resident, it's for 1 year, it's 579 pesos this year. It increases every year. And for permanent residency, what you have to pay if you come with a visa, it's 6,700 pesos. And the most of the offices in Mexico will give you your card on the same day. There are some offices that make you wait a couple of days, like Merida, but here, at least here in Cancun, in Playa del Carmen, they give you the card on the same date. Once you have your card, then you are free to travel outside the country. While you don't have your card, it's important that you cannot leave the country until you have completed the process, because if you leave without getting your card, the visa you obtain at the consulate will be void, and you will have to start all over again the process. So roughly, this is the whole process with the consulate and the immigration office to obtain your visa and then obtain your residency card. One thing very important, at the stage to obtain your card here in Mexico, it's not required that you submit financial information again to obtain your card. To renew it at some offices, they have started to ask for financial information, but it will be the following year.
Perfect. Okay. Any questions on that? And then we'll go into the chat and get into some of those questions. Somebody, anybody? No? Okay.
Sorry, Laura, it's
yeah, go ahead.
Melinda. I'm just wondering, hi, I'm just wondering if you have any tips on getting an appointment with the consulate in Calgary. We've been trying for this is our second year now trying to get an appointment and we can't. So I'm wondering if we can go to Las Vegas.
Oh, if
Yes,
you're Canadian.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, up to last year, Las Vegas did accept application from Canada. I'm not sure if this year, I haven't had a Canadian client who has gone to Las Vegas this year, but I believe they do allow if you are a Canadian with your Canadian financial information to apply for Las Vegas. If you like, I can send you the information about that. If this is something that the consulate has continued to do this year.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And just, oh, go ahead, Melinda.
So
is that
yeah,
it?
Laura.
No.
So kind of a two-part question. So he's saying that in Mexico, it's 3 weeks that you have to schedule in advance. And then we have to stay there because we're usually only there for a week at a time right now. So that was my question. Is he saying it's 3 weeks in Mexico?
Yeah. So go ahead, Mauricio.
If you can you can obtain an appointment like 3 weeks in advance. So if you can only come in period of 1 week, it's important that you be checking how, because they open the agenda of the immigration office 1 day at a time. So yesterday they opened July 16. So if you are planning to come in certain date, it's important that before you arrive, you book your appointment so you don't have to wait the 3 weeks until the next appointment available. It's free, because in that case, if you didn't book an appointment before arriving to Mexico, then you might have to stay the 3 weeks until an appointment is available for you.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Very good question. One thing to note, that's a benefit, correct me if I'm wrong, Mauricio, but of working with an immigration lawyer, if you let them know the window you're going to be here, a lot of times they're able to book the appointment for you. So you don't have to stress about that. They're going to do the work for you. And sometimes they're able to pull some strings. Like if you're like, I'm only going to be here this week and they can't, they're able to, correct, Mauricio? They work their magic.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, everything that is possible. Usually appointments are open like 1 a.m. in the morning, and within 5 minutes that they are all taken. So part of what we do is just be ready once we have the appointments for our clients to get the appointment for the dates that you will be here, in order that solve that for you.
Okay,
I have a
thank you.
question.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
Mrs. Carlson.
Yeah, so we have an appointment. It's funny because we submitted our paperwork and the same day we got confirmation
Oh.
got our appointment, but we're going to be in Mexico, so we had to reschedule. So that's just an
Oh,
interesting
no.
side note. I know, right?
And that's
So
very lucky and rare.
Of course it would happen that way. So my question is, one of the things on the list is we have to have a letter of verification. And I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is, Mauricio?
Usually, when they request this, it's a letter from your bank for the visa process. That your bank verifies the information contained in your bank statements. So probably it refers about this because in a lot of consulates they accept your bank statements that you download from your banking application, but others they will ask you, for example, in Toronto, they ask you they don't accept bank statements. They want a letter from your bank, stamp and sign that that they say how is your average income in your bank accounts. In
Gotcha.
others, they ask that the bank statements are stamped and signed, and in others, they ask you the statements plus a verification letter.
Okay, so because we're in Dallas, Texas. So a verification letter, would it just be from our bank or would it also be from our stocks?
It should be from both, from all the information or from all the financial information you are using to prove your solvency must be accompanied by this letter.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, let's go to one of the questions here in the chat. For temporary residency, besides the 4,500 a month, if there are children, oh yeah, so we talk a little bit about children, if children are involved. Is it 1,500 extra per child per month?
Yeah, that's correct. It's for any additional family member from the main applicant, you have to prove at least 1,500 US dollars or 2,000 Canadian dollars from your monthly income or the monthly average in your savings or investments. If this is a problem, there's a second option that for family, if the main applicant gets their residency visa and then their card, the rest of the family members can enter to Mexico as tourists and do and apply for the change of status based on family unity directly at the immigration office here in Mexico without the need to proving any financial information. For this, you will need your original certificates, marriage certificate or birth certificates of your children that had to be apostilled and translated and by an official translator here in Mexico. And also, and this is very common, in the case of spouse, when there's a change in the last name because of the marriage, you will have to go to get a same name affidavit, which you can get one here at the Mexican, at the U.S. Agency here in Cancun or in Playa del Carmen, which it costs like 50 US dollars, or you can also do that in the Canadian consular agency here in Cancun for Canadian citizens, where you basically state that you are the same person, that your maiden name, because if you do the change like that, you will be required to bring this if you change your last name.
Okay.
But if you apply through the consulate, then you need to prove the financial the additional 1,500 US dollars per family member.
Mauricio, one more follow-up question to that. If the father of the children who is no longer married to me, my children's father, does he, and if he cannot be present for the visa appointment at the Miami consulate, is a notarized document for him consenting that the kids apply for the residency enough?
If you have if it can be different documents. an authorized authorization by him where he authorized that his children obtain residency in Mexico, that will be okay. Or if is it a sentence where a family judge grants you the full custody of the children, that will be also acceptable. But it's important that to notify this to the consulate when you are doing the appointment, so they know that they will be reviewing this.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So question, Mauricio, for some clients that I'm working with now. It's a couple, they're a married couple. One is a Mexican citizen, well, Mexican American, so he has dual passports, and the other is a
Okay.
US citizen. So it could be the same process. The US citizen could apply here in Mexico. They could skip the consulate part, correct?
Correct. For
And just apply through marriage.
for foreign citizens who are married to a Mexican citizen, you can obtain a 2-year temporary residency permit before you are eligible to become a permanent resident. Directly at the immigration office in Mexico, you will need to provide your marriage certificate. Even if you got married in the state, that marriage certificate will have to be apostille and translator. And also I recommend that you register your marriage here in Mexico, so the civil registry will issue a registration of your marriage here. So it will be recognized whatsoever, but it's better to register it here in Mexico if you will have residency. And if you are recently married, it's probably that on the date at the appointment at the immigration office in Mexico, in some cases, the immigration office practice some interview separately with the partners, so to check that it's not a marriage for immigration purposes. But it's rare, but it can happen. And usually it's when they are newly weds. It will be required that the Mexican partner sign some letters and submit his Mexican passport or voter's ID to do the procedure. But it can be done here directly at the immigration office in Mexico without going through the consulate.
Perfect. Okay, another question from Mindy and Ira. Is the visit to the immigration office in Mexico for just permanent residency or temporary too?
For both. If you obtain a visa at the consulate, the visa you obtain that it's a stamp in your passport, it's not your residency permit until you enter to Mexico and you exchange this visa for your temporary or permanent residency card. So you have to go through the consulate and then to the immigration office here in Mexico, despite of which kind of visa were you approved.
Okay. Another question, I think you just answered this one though. Can you go straight to permanent residency if you were married to a Mexican citizen, or do you have to have temporary residency first?
For 2 years, you have to hold to your temporary residency. And after that, you are eligible to become a permanent residency or even a Mexican citizen. One of the reasons you can become a permanent residency, Mexican citizen, in 2 years, if you are married to a Mexican citizen or if you have Mexican kids.
Okay.
I have a question. One more question.
Yeah.
So is it better to have when you go once you get everything and you're in Mexico, have someone representing you, or to go by yourself? I mean, I'm sure that helps a lot more.
Can I just say something? I'm sure Mauricio has an
Yes.
answer, but I am going to give you the answer coming from experience. Get an immigration lawyer. Get Mauricio. Get somebody because it can be a very frustrating process. If you don't speak Spanish, it's going to be even more frustrating. I went through it multiple times because I did it when I lived here, 14 years ago. When I first moved here, I had to go through the process. It was very different then. I spent a lot of time at the immigration office, and I can honestly say, get an immigration lawyer.
Okay, that's what
And
I was thinking, but that was Todd's question.
Yes, especially for the price that you're going to pay. I mean, it's totally 100% worth it.
It's like having a navigator.
And so
And
once
Thank
we
you.
get that appointment,
And a
we have to
translator.
be, once we get that appointment, we have to be physically there with them.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, to the appointment, you have to be here because for your residency card, they will take your photo, they will take your fingerprints and give you your card. So what we do basically as lawyers, it's help you go through the process with the consulate, like guide you, review your information, help you find the consulate and contact them and assist you with any question you have or at the time of your appointment and help you obtain an appointment here in Mexico, draft all the letters, application forms, which are in Spanish and are required to be in
Yeah.
Spanish, and obtain the appointment. So on the date of the appointment, which you enter to the office, we will be there the whole time just in case something is required to follow up. But usually we manage to check that all the documents are correct, that you have the exact amount of copies. So you enter and basically hand over your paperwork, review them, pay, and get your card.
And so what, out of curiosity, what's like the average cost for that?
Well, it will depend on the type of procedure. I mean, for each lawyer or facilitator will have like standard fee for their services, which is usually the lawyer's fee plus the government fees.
So can you tell us, Mauricio, just to be completely
Ballpark.
transparent, what do you charge for the service?
Okay, for my service per person for a residency process, either it's a permanent or temporary visa, the cost of my fee is $7,000 if the process it's from the moment you are requiring the visa to the consulate, and it's 6,000 pesos if you already obtain your visa and you need help with the second part, which is the canje or the exchange of your visa for your permit for your residency card. This plus the government fees.
So curiosity. Yeah. So you said 7,000, but if we already have our appointment and we get all our stuff, then it's the 6,000 pesos. It's not the other.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're talking about what, $350 US per person.
Yeah.
After so we got all the work done here. But
I have a question. You say $7,000. It's $7,000 or 7,000 pesos?
So sorry if I say dollars.
Oh, okay.
It's pesos.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no. No,
Thank
it's
you.
pesos.
Yeah, I wanted to make that clear.
That's a lot different.
Thank you.
That's a lot.
It's like the consulate part didn't sound that complicated, but okay.
I thought Laura said it was really affordable and totally worth it.
7,000, I'm out.
Yeah.
No, 7,000 pesos.
So,
I'll do it.
It's pesos.
So I have a question. I love the pesos. I mean, I bought a $5 million home. But anyway, so the thing is that, so we have our follow-up appointment with the consulate here, August 21st. So we should plan to be in Mexico like the day after, right? So that we can, and we should schedule our 3-week, because you have 30 days and it takes 3 weeks to get an appointment. So we make the appointment before we have the deal with the consulate.
No, you have 6 months, correct, Mauricio?
Yeah, once you have the visa, you have 6 months to use the card. But if your plan is to go to your appointment on the 21st of August, and you can, as you have to track how they are opening the appointments here in
Yes.
Cancun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you get the appointment for, let's say, the 23rd of August. So you already have the appointment even before you have your appointment at the consulate. It's
Okay.
independently, and we can get the appointment here in Cancun even if
Perfect.
you haven't had your appointment at the consulate yet.
Okay. Perfect. Great. Thank you.
Great.
Russell, do you have a question here? Or do you want me to read off? I'm getting to your questions now in the chat.
Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a question about temporary residency, obtaining temporary residency. I work remote and my employer pays me. It's a little weird because I get paid in cryptocurrency, but I end up transferring it into a US bank account. So I know like cryptocurrency, from what I understand, is not acceptable for income or for financial solvency through like investment, but is it possible to use a letter from my employer stating how much I get paid and then showing that entering my bank account? And if so, does my employer need to hand sign that because I'm a remote employee? I can't really, like, they live in a foreign country. So do you have any experience with that? I know it's a kind of weird question.
Oh, no, thank you very much. It's very interesting. Well, yes, you are right. Currently, cryptocurrency accounts are not validated or accepted as a means to prove your solvency. I think, or my opinion is that will probably change in the no so distant future. But in your case, it will depend on which consulate you will want to go. Some consulates, they will only request the letter from your employer. And in my experience, it is necessary that you bring the original signed letter to your appointment, because that way they will be more comfortable on giving you the visa. But yes, I will suggest that the letter from your employer plus your bank statements where you are transferring what you have in your cryptocurrency account to your dollars account could work depending on the consulate you will want to attend to your appointment.
Okay, it's the Miami consulate. Have you any experience with that?
Well, in Miami, they are usually very friendly, and I didn't have any case recently about people who are applying through an employment letter, but they are very friendly and they are not as strict with documents like other consulates. So it's a good choice, I think.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Guys, I know
Pleasure.
this from the last chat. There's a Facebook group, of course, for consulates and immigration processes from the consulate. So a lot of people will go back and forth and talk. I don't know the name. So let me see if I can find the name of the group if somebody knows it in this chat right now. But they will inform you like which consulate has the closest appointments, which one is easiest, which one's more difficult. So let me see if we can get the name of that Facebook group for you.
I think
Okay.
I have it.
Oh, you do? Yes, Mauricio.
Yeah, I'm member of that group.
Oh, please send it and add it into the chat.
Yes.
So just to clarify, it really depends on which consulate you go to in terms of time as well. Sometimes you are able to choose which consulate. Sometimes, like Mauricio already mentioned, some consulates will only allow you to use that consulate. I think in Canada, they're a little stricter if you live in the region.
Yes, and I know in Montreal you can't. Oops, sorry, I'm gonna stop the video. Hi everyone, I'm Bianca.
Bianca.
I work at Runaway Realty as well, and I went through the process myself 3 years ago. And yes, I wanted to use another consulate. I'm from Montreal. I wanted to use another consulate because it was I had to wait 6 months for an appointment, even a little more, and I wanted to go to Ottawa or Toronto, and they said no. It was very, very, very busy at the time. But like you said, Laura, it changes constantly. So check it out. But
Yes.
I think that was the case 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's correct. Sorry.
Go ahead, Mauricio.
Oh, yeah, it's important that you reach each consulate. The consulate, once you have the consulate you want to go, it's important to check directly with them how they want things, because sometimes what it's published at their website, it's not updated, and a lot of people, I have receive cases that people just bring what it said on the website, and they were turned down because they have changed. Like, I mean, for example, if you check the Phoenix, Arizona consulate webpage, they have the solvency requirements of 2022. They haven't changed it since then. So you can mistakenly believe that you will be accepted with that amount. So it's better if you contact them directly. Some consulates are very responsive. Some they will never answer you. And as many have commented, in some consulates, you have to wait months before you can get an appointment. It's a question of patience.
I have a quick
Very good.
follow-up question, if you don't mind, about the verification letter. Is there any particular information that's needed to be on that letter? For example, like how much I'm paid or my position or anything in particular they're going to look for?
Well, for this kind of letter, yes, it's important to state what is your position, what is your monthly net income, and how long have you been working for this company, and very important that they note that you can work remotely from any part of the world, and that they don't have any issues with this.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
All right, guys, let's go through a few more of these questions. Some of the really specific ones, because we're getting, it's been an hour, so we're getting close to time. But some of the really specific ones we might skip. And what I recommend, we're going to drop Mauricio's contact information in the chat, and feel free to reach out to him. Also save his contact for the future. Mauricio, do you prefer to be contacted via email or WhatsApp, or what is your preferred mode of contact?
Any method works for me. If you write me a message through WhatsApp, I will certainly answer you. If it's in the morning, if I at the immigration office, I probably will answer you in the afternoon. But certainly, I will answer to you via email or message through WhatsApp.
Okay, perfect. We'll drop it in the chat here. Let me go over another question here from Marty. Just to confirm something I heard earlier, you can prove solvency using savings only at 72,000 US dollars in your account for the last 6 months. Investments and/or retirement accounts can be used for this purpose. Is that correct?
It's correct. You can use I mean, it's very important to note that you only can choose to apply with either savings and investments, or pension and salary in the case of temporary residency, or savings and investments and pension with permanent residency. You cannot combine both two for your solvency. If you go with your investments and savings, that's all that you have to bring that information. If it's by pension, just bring the documents from your pension or your salary.
Perfect. And Danny just dropped Mauricio's contact information in the chat, so feel free to copy that and paste it somewhere so you don't forget.
Thank you.
How do you go from temporary residency to permanent?
Okay, if there are many ways, but mostly if you have maintained your temporary residency for 4 years, then you have earned the right to become a permanent resident. So 1 month before your fourth renewal of your card it's about to expire, then that is the moment where you can apply for permanent residency. And the other, I mean, if in your time in Mexico, you have a Mexican child, then once your child has a Mexican birth certificate and a passport, then you can apply directly for permanent residency, even if you are in the middle of your temporary residency. So that those are both the most direct ways that you can become a permanent resident.
And if you do not review or renew your temporary residency, you lose it and you have to start the process over again, correct?
Yeah, I mean, if your card expires and you are here in Mexico, you will have 60 days after it expires to get a regularization process and obtain a new card and restart the counting of your years for permanent residency. There was even if you also we didn't touch the issue of the regularization process, which up to March of this year, there was a special program that was very good because if you had previous visits to Mexico and you come to Mexico and let your document expire, then you were able to become a temporary resident directly for 4 years without financial solvency, but that was totally canceled in May, so that's not an option now. You can only regularize if you had a temporary residency and it expires within the next 60 days, or if you are in a family unity scenario, which is you have your spouse or it's a Mexican or a foreign citizen who is a resident, or if for humanitarian reasons.
Okay, perfect. Then we have a Mauricio with a money sign. I think we all thought you were very expensive for a moment, but then we realized it was pesos.
Yeah, no, it's
okay,
pesos.
so going on to the next question. This is a great question because it's part of your residency is also getting your RFC, but that is a separate step. It doesn't all happen at once. So this is a question from Paulo. Will an immigration lawyer go with us to SAT to help with the RFC process?
Yeah, as mainly the tax ID or RFC that you obtain when you are not working in Mexico or you are not having any activity, then you are not obliged to submit tax declaration or tax returns unless you activate it and start having income. But once you have your residency card and your CURP, I, as a lawyer, can help you obtain an appointment at the SAT office and help you go through the process, which also it's very straightforward. You can obtain you obtain at the SAT office two things: the RFC number and electronic signature that allows you to make changes to your tax information online. So the process at the SAT is that you have to ask for an appointment. Usually they are full, so you have to get into a virtual line that it could take between 2 weeks to 1 month until you are assigned for the appointment. With the SAT, in the usual way, there is no way that you can choose when and when and at what time your appointment will be, because it's automatically assigned. Also, if you are tight on time, we can help you to get you an appointment after, but this is after you have your residency card.
I have a question, one more question.
Yeah.
How do you get a CURP number, CURP number?
It's get once you have your appointments here at the same time you get your appointment at the immigration office to exchange your card, your visa for your residency card, they assign you at the same moment a CURP number.
Perfect, thank you.
Awesome. Guys, the last couple of questions are pretty specific. So what I recommend is you contact Mauricio directly. And you guys can get in touch with him and have any of your more specific questions answered that way. But any other more general questions before we wrap up the chat?
Can I just
Hi.
interject for a second? Sorry.
Yeah.
I just want to say that this has been very informative and wonderful. Just
Yay.
saying. Okay, and let
you very
her
much.
talk.
Thank you. Do we have to have any kind of residency to purchase property?
Oh, yeah.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yes, we talked about that at the very beginning. You don't need anything to
didn't hear
purchase
it, sorry.
property. Oh, that's
Okay.
okay. Just your passport from your home country. But
Okay.
it's very beneficial when it comes time to sell because you are able, with your immigration status, with your RFC, you
Yeah.
are able to apply for a partial exemption on your capital gains tax.
Okay, great. All right,
Yes.
thank you.
All right, guys, wonderful. That was so amazing. Mindy?
Thank you.
One last question. Can you open a bank account with just the temporary residency?
Yes, most banks will require that you have an RFC to open a bank account. There are certain banks like Cbanco, I believe, and Intercam that will let you open a bank account without an RFC. But sometimes these accounts have some issues about the amount of money that you can receive, or sometimes they get canceled. So it's better if you obtain an RFC and then open a bank account. But there are some bank institutions that will allow you to.
Perfect. And everyone saw Mauricio's contact information in the chat, correct? And then also he dropped the Facebook group for the consulates.
Yes.
Yes. Amazing. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Mauricio, for giving us all the information on immigration. I know it's a hot topic and we need to know about this, right? So thank you very much. And
I want to add something.
Yes, go for it, Danny.
I just want to let you know that